Guys, welcome back to the Independent Investor Channel. I honestly believe we're in our element when we're talking about how people can invest correctly into the stock market, reduce debt, and help themselves build a financial future for themselves. Guys, if it's your first time tuning into the channel, subscribe to the channel. We talk about being a self-directed investor on this channel. More often than not, we talk about fundamental philosophies that can help you guys kind of realize your financial dreams going forward. And it's a lot easier than a lot of people think. A lot of people misconstrue or make the stock market seem to be some scary place that only the rich can participate in. I'm a regular guy, and a lot of my niche on this channel is to deliver very simple concepts to help regular hard-working people out there realize a dream of financial security by participating in the stock market. What we're going to talk about on this video, I'm going to talk about 3 things to build your net worth properly. Again, I believe we're in our element when we're talking about fundamental wealth building strategies, and I think that really helps and resonates with young investors out there who are looking to get involved in the stock market, but they think for some reason that it's too difficult, or they have to have certain pieces of information, or they just don't feel like they can do it. And I'm here to tell you that you can. And it's a lot simpler if you just kind of strategically break it up and don't try to take on the world at the same time. Tuning into my channel really will help you kind of understand some of the perils and pitfalls that I've been through. And if you can just kind of minimize the mistakes and start correctly in the stock market, you're going to end up realizing your financial goals going forward. But I really want you guys to understand that building net worth is just as it implies, and it's building, and sometimes it's very difficult. If you want to build a house, sometimes it's going to snow on you, or it's going to rain, right? You're going to have delays in contracting, etc. It's the same idea when you're building net worth, but I think a lot of people just roll over, right? They buy into or get used to living paycheck to paycheck, and they don't take the proactive steps enough to really take the steps necessary to identify where they can potentially improve their financial health. Now, I'm not going to get into the definition of net worth. I'm not going to tell you that it's your assets minus your liabilities. That's boring talk. All right. I'm here to talk about real talk. All right. I've owned 2 houses in my career, and a lot of you guys that tune into my channel, you may not invest in the stock market, but you do own a home. All right. The big thing that you want to understand is that that home can really be probably one of the biggest wealth building tools that you can use to cash in on someday. All right. Now, you guys may live in your house and you may never sell it, but please recognize that your asset that you live in is very, very important. And my very first wealth building strategy that I want to talk to you guys about is twofold. All right. Number 1, I want to talk about the frequency of refinancing your home, okay? And I'm just going to tell you straight out, it is way too overutilized. People are way too often justifying refinancing for a home improvement project, okay? Or they are justifying refinancing to lower their mortgage by 1 basis point. They need free spending cash, so they take it out of their bank, their home. Your home is not a bank, okay? What ends up happening, and what a lot of time happened in 2009, 2010, the housing downturn, is people were using their homes as banks, and they were considerably overusing their refinance option to take money out of their home, right? To pay for frivolous things that maybe they thought they needed, but maybe they didn't need. Maybe they needed to channel some of those efforts into finding money in another area, and allowing your mortgage, whether or not you have a 15 or a 30-year mortgage, to actually work for you guys. Because if you continually refinance your home, you are continually paying in that first 15-year cycle of a mortgage, whereas you want to get to that latter 15 years And that's where you really start to take big chunks out of that equity and stop paying so much to interest. All right, so that's number one. Don't refinance, guys. Refinancing, I've done it. It's one of the biggest mistakes I've ever made. I won't ever do it again. I will absolutely exhaust all other options to try to find money if I think I need it for other things. The other thing with point number one on how to build net worth is to pay off your home quicker. And for a lot of you guys out there that have a mortgage on a home that's $150,000, $250,000, $300,000, $500,000, a lot of people, you probably hit me up and be like, yeah, right, Ryan, sure, that's freaking easy for you to say. But one statistic that I want to throw out there, and I do this for my viewing audience, you're not going to get all the answers by tuning into one video that I offer. But if you tune into all my videos, you're going to pick up on these little tidbits of facts that are going to make you strong in your financial health. And one thing that people don't really realize is that they make one extra payment to their mortgage every single year for the life of that mortgage. On a 30-year mortgage, you're going to knock off 8 years on that mortgage. So just by making one extra, let's say $1,200 payment to your mortgage per year, doesn't matter when it's applied, you just make that extra payment, you are going to knock 8 years of potential payments to that home mortgage, and your 30-year mortgage is going to be reduced to a 22-year mortgage. That's a fact, guys. That's just the math of it, all right? So utilizing your home as an asset versus your liabilities is really going to help you guys build that net worth that I talk about for you guys. And you guys really need to kind of sink your teeth into this concept and really understand that building net worth is just that. You've got to look for every advantage, whether it be in your car or whether it be in your home or whether it be in your budget or whether it be in the higher education that you seek for your children. You really have to make sure that you're getting the optimal bang for your buck in everything that you devote your dollars to. Number two is to eliminate debt. Eliminate debt. The U.S. is the worst at this. We are a nation of debt. I go to Europe sometimes and they look at me crazy like I'm using a credit card. I have my debt under control, but as a country, we do not. We are absolutely out of control. The last statistic that I pulled on average household debt in the U.S. is $8,800. My new figure has increased to over $11,000 of household debt in this country. How is that possible? That is on an average. If you eliminated that debt and worked very, very diligently to at least get back to zero, guys, if you're carrying that much credit card debt, you are working in a vacuum, okay? What I mean by that is I could never, ever recommend that you invest in the stock market trying to achieve a year-over-year rate of return of 8 to 10% while you're paying an interest of 15, 20, 25, and in some cases, 30% interest on a credit card. It makes no sense, right? It's planned failure. So we need to look to eliminate that debt. And by eliminating that debt, even though you start in the negative, by at least getting yourself back to a baseline, which is zero, you are in fact taking a very prudent step in building your net worth. That's item number two. Eliminate debt. Number three, something that we talk about all the time on the Independent Investor channel, and certainly there is an order of operations to entering the stock market, okay? And make no mistake about it, I minimize the requirements necessary to get involved in the stock market. I do not believe you need to be the sharpest tool in the shed. You can be an average, ordinary Joe out there and invest in the stock market and be successful, as opposed to the $1 million hedge fund guy that just puts himself into a managed situation with $1 million hedge fund and has no idea what that money manager is doing. This person over here, this average Joe, this person right here is probably going to succeed more often than not. So I tend to try to become transparent on the disconnect between those two programs because a lot of people misconceive their own ideological approach to the stock market and think that you have to be an analyst over here, and you absolutely do not. I contend that investing correctly in the stock market is getting yourself started with a self-directed Roth IRA account for either you as a single person or for you and your spouse. That way you can contribute post-tax dollars to a Roth IRA account, and those dollars can go in there. And what's going to happen is once you fund that account with those dollars, you're going to be able to put them into assets that you never have to look at again. You don't have to tinker with them. You don't have to manage them. The best thing that you can do actually is ignore them. That's the best thing that you can do. So investing correctly in the stock market starts and ends really with starting the self-directed Roth IRA account, getting your dollars funded into that account, and allowing those dollars to grow. Okay? Now there's products that we offer all the time on this channel with regard to what are the investment products that you buy within that account. And just to touch on it briefly on how you properly build wealth in the stock market is to participate in the entire stock market as a whole. And the way we do that is we participate through a product known as an exchange traded fund. My favorite one that I recommend all the time is the VOO. It's got an extremely low expense ratio. It allows you to buy the entire S&P 500, which is a basket of stocks that are represented as an indicator of where the stock market will go. And the S&P 500 will go up and it will go down. But over time, you're looking to give yourself a rate of return of 8 to 10% on the stock market. And as that account begins to grow, it will start to grow on those dividends that you're paid, and it will start to grow on that accumulated value that you've got in that account. Now remember how I talked about the self-directed option. You start that self-directed option, and I talk about investing correctly. I just don't say invest in the stock market. Anybody can start a Robinhood account. That is not investing in the stock market correctly. Because the benefit in the self-directed Roth IRA account you're going to get is there's no fees in the account. None. All right. Number two is you're going to tax protect your dollars for when you eventually look to retire, right? And the minimum age for retirement in a self-directed Roth IRA account is 59.5. That's when your accumulated value is going to be eligible for withdrawal eventually down the road when you look to retire, guys. I got hit up Friday with a question. It was during my live feed. And the question spoke to this, how you build net worth. And I really don't think I provided good response to that person who said, look, I've exhausted all my money in my self-directed account. What do I do now? And my response was valid, but I wanted to bring it up on this YouTube video to make sure you guys understand that that was coming from a really genuine place, and that, look, I want to be aggressive on investing in the stock market, but once I've invested my dollars over here, what else can I do? And the idea is that you let this work for you. Let this work over here while you work on other aspects of not only your financial life, but also your spiritual and physical and maybe your professional health as well. Allow this to work over here. You don't always have to be working this, right, to make it work out for you. You can work over here on your budget. See if you can't squeeze a few more dollars out of your budget. Work over here on building your cash reserves up so you're that much more prepared to enter into the stock market if an opportunity presents itself. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this top 3 wealth building tips from my perspective, guys. Make no mistake about it. You guys are going to be the architect of building your portfolios over time. Misconceptions in the stock market exist every day. And one of the major misconceptions is that you're going to invest today and you're going to be successful tomorrow. That could not be further from the truth. It takes time, it takes perils, it takes tribulation, it takes evolving, and it takes patience. It takes patience. But if you're willing to put in the work of building yourself some financial health, you're going to reap the rewards going forward, guys. If it's your first time, subscribe to the channel, guys. Hit the bell. You'll be notified of future uploads that I put online. Leave your comments at the bottom of the video if there's any more wealth building or net worth building tips that you guys can think of. Man, we're all in it for the community. We're in it for the betterment and the empowerment of individual investors out there that are joining into the message, guys. Thanks again for tuning into this top 3 net worth building tips. From my perspective, guys, good luck in your investment future.